here we go. Here we go. We're ringing. Episode 12, right? Yeah. Okay. We got that one out of the way.
Hello, Mark speaking.
Hey, Mark. It's Claudio and Matt Lahood here from the Mentors, and our all-third mentor, Clinton, joining us here this morning. How are you, Mark?
Good, guys. Wait for the call. How are you?
Good. Mark. So we've decided to remain this anonymous. So, Mark, just tell us a little bit, maybe a little bit quickly about your career in real estate. How long you've been in real estate? We do know that you're from Melbourne, right? You're selling in Melbourne?
I'm in Melbourne. Been in it for 5 years now.
Yep.
Working. So obviously Melbourne's been going through a bit of a boom cycle these last 5 years. However, my marketplace isn't in that cycle. So I've been having hard conversations with vendors for the last 5 years.
Right. Okay. So your market has been a lot different compared to other markets. So Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, call it where you want. The last 5 years we've been going through a bit of a boom town, right? But you're saying your part of Melbourne hasn't. Is that right? So,
that's right.
So is that because there's a lot of new development where you are, or what's the story?
A lot of development, a lot of supply, people buying at developers' prices. So capital growth is non-existent, so they've got negative growth.
Okay. You don't have to give us the suburb of Melbourne, but is it what part of Melbourne? Is it outskirts of Melbourne? Is it?
Oh no, so inner city. So within anywhere within 5 k's of the city.
Okay, so it's almost like a Piermont in Sydney.
Okay.
Darling Harbour, in that area.
Days on market, Mark, for you? What are they?
Mate, when I first started, they were up at about 130. So average days on market in my marketplace at the moment's sitting at about 95. At the moment, our office is sitting at about 60.
Okay, and do you do auctions or mainly for sale?
I do auctions. Majority of the properties are private sale. I'm very selective with which properties go to auction because my experience is the process doesn't work for all of them.
Not for all your
What's the
properties.
clearance rate out of your office?
Clearance rate, I would have to say we're probably looking at about 50%.
Okay.
50-50. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so have you got a question for us today? Or a scenario?
Yeah. So obviously I'm used to having those hard conversations with vendors, and I've got a property that I won so I'm an out of area agent. As we all know, the process doesn't change, and so I've got a property on the market in a marketplace that did experience all the growth and activity that Melbourne's experienced.
So this is a property that's actually outside of your core market at the moment?
Correct.
Okay, yep, go on.
So still an inner city suburb, but one that has had a flourishing few years.
Yep.
Now that property there, as I said, so went in against a few other agents. Use comparables. Put together a pretty realistic analysis for the owner. The months leading up to them deciding to sell, they had a lot of the local agents really pumping their tyres, telling them that they're going to get in excess of 2 mil.
That happens in this market, yep.
Which is great. They understood that, something that agents do. But now, 2 weeks into the campaign, they're not getting the feedback that they want. We've got an auction on it.
When's your auction happening?
The following weekend. So we've got... Yeah, so we've got
2 more weekends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got another week to make things happen.
How many buyers have you had through it so far?
We've had 22.
And any offers?
2 weeks. No offers. 3 requests for the contract. Once the contract came in, that died down to 1 request. So obviously I've had that hard conversation with the owner pretty early on because I've got no key indicators that we've got people that are going to be at the auction. No one's asked me about offers prior. The people that have asked for the contracts, they've all but vanished.
When you're doing the callbacks, what's the feedback?
To be honest, most of the feedback's either from people that have just entered the market, so they don't feel qualified enough for any feedback. The ones that have been in the market looking, the property doesn't suit them. Mm-hmm. And the feedback is, I would say, what would be about 15-20% lower than where the owner wants to be.
Would you have a buyer 15-20% lower now today if you had to?
No. Well, that's it. The feedback's been from people that actually don't want the property.
Right. So they're usually the best people to give you feedback because
Exactly.
they can't see value in it
That's
for some
right,
reason.
and there's no emotional connection to it.
When you say
Yeah.
the other percentage it didn't suit them, why didn't it suit them? Is there, because obviously
look-
Claudio and I don't know the property. Is there?
Yeah, so
is it
it's,
unique? Is there some problem with the layout or something?
It is unique, but the challenge is it's 4 levels. So
Right, okay.
you downsize the market, they're wiping it out because chances are it won't be the last place they buy because their knees are going to give way.
Yep.
So we're losing the downsize market.
You won't get the young families either.
Well, you won't get the exactly right because so unless your kids are in their pre-teens, early teens, someone to help with the groceries to get them all the way up.
So, Mark, let me ask you this: if you read the ad, does it target that market you're trying to reach?
It does. We're targeting. It's all about lifestyle and.
But if I was to read the ad, if I was a teenage family, would it stand out that that's what it would suit if I read it right now?
Good question. I'd have to go over the ad and confirm that. But we did emphasise on lifestyle.
There's the hot spot because you're getting the wrong buyers through, right? So when you market something particular like that, have you had any editorial like on it online or in the local paper or anything?
Yeah. We looked into it. So now at the moment the owners are starting to slam the marketing. So now the blame is thrown.
Blaming on you, blaming the marketing. Is that what's happening?
Well,
correct. Yeah.
It could be a good wake up call to reinvent what you got quickly because online you can change it in 15 minutes. You can reboost it, go back to the database that you've already had. I'd go back to the 20 buyers that you've been through and just check them out again and say, hey, listen, just wanted to check. But I think you've got the wrong buyers coming through it, from what I can see.
I agree. So the buyers that we're getting through, and this is a challenge. So obviously all the regulations that changed in Victoria with the way we quote prices. Also experienced that we're getting a lot of confused buyers. Some agencies are still quoting well below the value and the expected range. Some are keeping within the regulations. So buyers are still coming through automatically tacking on their 10, 20%. So the buyers that we're getting through are estimating that the properties can go for 2, maybe a bit above 2, and they're prepared to spend that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't compare with the properties that are actually worth that value.
And where are your vendors at?
Vendors are within the range, so we're not quoting outside of the range or anything like that.
Let me grow granular, Mark. If you had an offer on a contract this afternoon at 1.925, would they take it?
Sorry, what was that?
If you had an offer on a contract signed with a cheque attached to it today at 1,925,000, what would the vendor do?
They would be signing the other section of that contract.
So they'd be selling it, yeah?
Yeah, certainly.
Well, you need to be pitching it where they are because it sounds like you're pitching it like too far above where they are. If they'll take 1.9, then
what are you pitching at the moment?
When you said to us it's around 2.
What are you pitching it at the moment? What's your guide?
1.8 to 1.9.
1.8 to 1.9. But your fear is buyers are coming through, adding the 20 to 30% on top of that. So they're thinking it's worth more than 2 million. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Everyone's adding $200,000 to that tag.
Right. Okay. So your vendors are at 1.8 to 1.9. Okay. You're quoting that, but buyers are actually just what they're thinking probably because they've been thinking probably like last year, Matty, thinking it's going to go for 10 or 20% more. So they automatically think this is a $2 million property, but it's not. So your question, what do you want to know, Michael? Is it your
Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if the owners would consider offers below the range that we've got, that would be ideal to market at that range. But so the feedback we've had has actually been around 1.6, and that's consistent feedback.
At 1.6?
Correct.
Right. Okay. So the feedback's at 1.6. What do you reckon, Matty? So vendors at 1.819. He's quoting 1.819.
Yep.
Feedback's more like the 1.6 because the market's coming back, as you know. We all know the market's changed a lot. And are your vendors prepared to meet the market?
No, that's it. And they're expecting. Their expectation is that the agent is to sell the property to the buyers coming through the door, which I completely and utterly agree. But you actually need interest to be able to sell it.
Right.
Otherwise, the only time people are going to be interested in the property is if it's below market value and it's a pure opportunity.
Here's what I would do, mate. If it was my property, here's what I'd do. I'd go and sit with the vendors and say, look, we've got no interest in it. The reality is, I would extend the auction another 2 weeks. I'd change the auction date and push it out another 2 weeks. I'd completely reinvent the marketing.
Correct.
You need to go there with a strategy, Mark, because if you sit there and you're just going to get shot and they'll lose the listing in 3 weeks.
That's right.
I'd go there with a proper strategy. I'd say, here's what I want to do. I'm going to I'm going to redo the ad completely. I'm going to target the teenage market. I'm going to adjust the price guide. And I think you've got to get a price guide of 1.7 to 1.8 on it.
Correct, yep.
Right? Realistically, and get them to agree that that's where it is.
Push the auction down 2 weeks.
Push the auction out another 2 weeks. I'd redo the marketing. I'd resend out to the database. I'd ring the 20 people I've got and say, hey, guys, great news. The adjusted price guide is 1.7 to 1.8.
Yep.
And I would say to the vendors, look, if we don't do this now, we're going to be sitting there, the three of us at the auction on auction day.
Twiddling our thumbs.
That's what I would do.
Yep.
And that will get the result in my view.
Correct. And I think having that clear strategy and that guidance, they'll understand where you want to come from. But also I want to bring Clinton in. Clinton, for someone like Mark right now, and obviously, you being the social media expert here, anything you could suggest here around what he could do, exactly what Matt said. He said maybe he needs to target families with teenage kids, redo the advertising. But anything from a social media platform that Mark can be doing?
Absolutely. So, quick question for you, mate. With the marketing that you have done, where have you marketed the property?
So, outside your traditional online avenues, we're a big supporter of social media. I actually sat down with the owner 2 days ago, and we were looking at, they wanted to publish in the weekly review. They wanted to do a quarter-page ad.
Yep.
And they asked me for my advice as to whether or not that's going to be a good investment. So I said to them, for 1 week in the weekly review on a quarter-page ad, you're probably better off putting that money into social media instead and doing a targeted audience campaign.
Exactly.
So we already do that, not. But
so where have you guys advertised?
So we picked that suburb and surrounding suburbs. Also, where some of the buyers that are coming from, that have come through the property, targeting those suburbs as well. And then picking the specific what's the word? Not the buyer behaviours, the interests.
The interests. Okay. Excellent. So I'd actually go back and look at that ad. And did you guys try doing a lead ad through Facebook? Sorry? I'm assuming we're talking about Facebook. In terms of where you have. Okay, cool. So if you haven't done it already, you can actually go back and you can do a lead advert, which will actually collect data from the people that see that ad. I would run two different ads. Did you do a video for the property or not?
We did, and it's the video that we're pushing.
Fantastic. You also need to grab the photos. And you need to push photos as well, because you're going to find if you A/B test those, in many instances when it comes to the advertising part of it, especially with a lead ad, you'll probably see a higher cut through of people showing interest just off one good photo from the property. But what you need to do is you run multiple ads using the budget and try to push to get at least 500 to 1,000 if you can, and pump it for a week or two. And make sure that when you go back in there that you're getting people that have teenagers as part of the demographic, because now that we've changed that, that's what it needs to be. I'd go a little bit deeper in terms of some of the copy, talking about the features and the selling points of the property, which will speak to that market. And then I would run simultaneously video and a couple of different photos and see which one gets you the best result.
That's a great idea.
You need to go back into that at least a couple of days into the campaign and see which ad is getting the better result and put more money into that ad.
Okay. So then review it and then boost the one that's performing the best.
Exactly, but run lead ads. So do lead ads.
What's lead ads? Because I don't...
So for anybody that doesn't know what a lead ad is, when you jump into Facebook, there's different types of campaigns you can run. You can run an awareness campaign. You can run clicks through to a website. You can run lead ads. Now a lead ad is essentially Matt, the potential buyer, sees the ad, likes what he's looking at. submits his details, which Facebook already has. So you're not having to punch that stuff in. It automatically comes into the ad. And you can specify, be simple with it, don't go too deep. But, name, telephone number, or name, telephone number and email address is enough. And give them something of value that you're offering them. Be that more information about the property, or exclusive opportunity to go through and view the property one-to-one, or whatever it may be, in terms of what you think the market's going to appreciate. And then as they start to submit the details, you can then pull that data out and either sync it with your CRM or just have an Excel spreadsheet of the names.
That's really
numbers.
good.
What a great way to get data.
Emails. It's brilliant. It's really, really good. Aside from that, though, you might also want to consider looking at LinkedIn and Instagram to push some awareness on this property as well.
So unless you're on all three platforms as well.
With LinkedIn, I mean, aside from posting onto your page, the owners have posted it onto theirs. You'll post it onto the office page. Is there a way to boost through LinkedIn? LinkedIn's not really a realm outside of just generic.
You can get more awareness by spending money on it. Absolutely, I would if I was you. If you're not familiar with it, I would find somebody quick smart that is a specialist in those areas. That will be able to help you get the most out of that dollar. Because then you've also got a case study. If you are successful with advertising this property and you've now got the data to prove that, hey, spending 500 or 1,000 gets X amount of leads and this amount of awareness and eyeballs on your ad, then you've got a precedent moving forward to do it for every single property that you're trying to sell.
What a great case study or listing tool to have as well.
That's brilliant, Clint. Okay. Mark, there's two other things in closing I just wanted to mention to you. One, have you reached out to buyers advocates?
I've reached out to buyers advocates. Have
you had them through the property?
They're not coming through because I've sent through all the information. They just don't have any buyers on their books that it suits.
Right, and you've reached out to all of them, all of the key ones?
I'll reach out to some more, so that's already out of a few.
I think you need to reach out to the key ones. The second thing is, in the area, do you have any friendly agents that you work with that might be under the same brand you're under, or just other agents because it's not in your core market?
No, and the challenge is I've got the owners are, as I said, they're losing faith. I've got to be honest with them. They're losing faith in me because of what's going on, and they're questioning having an out of area agent. So
that's why it could be smart for you to jump on with someone before you lose a whole lot. And say that's why I'm saying if you had a friendly in the area, probably should have brought him in the beginning.
Yeah, that's right. Look, I left the door open. So the owner did actually introduce me to a couple of agents that I was speaking to, and I left the door open. And the feedback I said to them, I'm open to collaboration, working together. But just their impression was, well, now it's marketed, there's nothing much we can do. So if it was off-market scenario, they were all for it. And I'll reach out to them again. Happy to reach out to them again. As I said, my goal is to get a result for the owner. Because I know what will happen if it doesn't happen. They'll go through the experience twice, and chances are it'll sell for below what they're probably able to achieve.
Exactly. That's why you need to reinvent it today. You need to get in front of the owners today, reinvent the whole thing, the marketing, exactly what Clinton said, push market it out there, lead ads, the whole thing, and show that you're doing something proactive.
I think that's what's going to be key, is show empathy, show that you're proactive with the situation right now and what your strategy is. And I think, between what Clinton said, Matt said, and I said here, Mark, is you going in front of them and showing them a clear path of how we're going to get a result and an outcome and get top dollar for your home, whatever that's going to look like, but get top dollar.
You may want to reboost it on the internet as well.
Well, that's
we'll fall in line with if we push it out 2 weeks, we'll still fall within the 45-day cycle of realestate.com.
Yeah, I'd push it out 2 weeks. That gives you time to reinvent it. Get more buyers advocates in.
I would.
Quick question on that, though. Like, if you've advertised it, I'm assuming a week or two ago. Is that how long? And I'm talking about the listed websites, Domain and Real Estate.
Sorry, is that to me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So how long ago did you list it on those sites?
What's it been on now we're coming on to 20 days now, so 3 weeks.
Okay, cool. Has it dropped down the list? Or is it featured?
Has, but every 15, no, we went to Premiere, so so every 15 days it's back up at the top. Good thing is, there's not a whole lot comparable in the marketplace.
Okay.
This is like a unique property.
All right.
It's a unique property, but even just the features, number of bedrooms, number of car parks.
And you know what you also could say, just as a bit of dialogue to your vendor as well, because even though you're going with the strategy of being proactive, I would just say to them, it's a unique property, right? And sometimes unique properties take a little bit more longer to find the right buyer for your home. So like you bought this home, there'll be another buyer that will appreciate and love the home like you do, but it might just take a little bit longer than usual because it is unique. Okay, so I think once they understand that, it's not like your stock standard, 3-bedroom semi-terrace, for example, in the inner city. It's a different type of home that you have, right?
Correct.
So, yeah. Clinton?
If you don't mind me asking too, mate, what do the owners of this particular property love about it? Why did they choose that property in the first place? What did they enjoy about it in the years that they were there?
It's got some unique aspects. If I delve into them, it'll be pretty easy to pinpoint them out in the marketplace. So they did go into it, and I understand their emotional attachment. They spoke to me about the day that they bought it, how they felt when they bought it. So, look, I do understand their attachment to it and why they love it so much, and I'm trying to recreate that. The other challenge I have is when I've got buyers coming through the door, the first question they ask me, is it currently tenanted? And when I tell them that it's owner-occupied, they're kind of shocked with the presentation.
Well, that could be another part. That might.
It is another part. It's one that I've touched on a couple of times, and I've spoken to them about partially staging. There's bits of furniture that at the start of the campaign I recommended getting removed, and everything kind of just got thrown into the too hard basket.
I think, Mark, you've got to go down and have a long meeting with these people and go through everything step by step, because that's the only way you're going to fix it. Yeah, and just be transparent. And sometimes, not every listing's a good listing either. And sometimes you can get it wrong. If you put your hand up and say you got it wrong, I think that's a good thing. Out of my 30 years of selling real estate and over 2,500 properties, I've got it wrong plenty of times, but I've owned up at the front end and I've rebuilt my relationship at the back end and come out smelling roses at the end. If you don't rip the Band-Aid off now, you're going to lose the business and it'll exactly what will happen.
Yeah. They're interpreting my feedback as me losing faith in the property.
Well, that can happen. Yeah.
So I think you've got to be strong. You've got to go in there with a strategy, feel confident about your strategy and what you're going to deliver. Yeah. Because that's and then work out ways how you can recreate that buyer excitement and what your plan is to re-energise that listing. And I think if you've got with some key points that we discussed today here, Mark, I think for a lot of them, they'll refine that confidence in you. But if you keep doing and you're capping out with not getting the same result, it's like they're going to be going, we're just going down the same, nothing's changing.
Yeah, if nothing changes.
But even if you change the ad, like saying, this is what we're going to do, talk to me more about why you guys bought this property. I want to put that into the ad a little bit more because then they'll get that engagement. That again shows empathy, and that also shows that you're listening to them as well.
Yeah, if they see you getting the buyers advocates in and reshuffling, getting some co-agents in, and when the buyers agents and people like that come in, I would get them to tell you what they think it's worth.
Yep.
Because that's not you saying what it's worth. That's independent third party.
The buyer agent and the buyer advocate, etc.
All right.
Okay. Yep. Mark, thank you so much for joining us here at the episode of number 12 here on the Mentors.
Good thing, Mark. Keep Claudio updated so he can keep us
we love hearing stuff like that. So keep us updated how it goes, and maybe one of our future episodes we'll give the guys see how it ended up going. All right?
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Really love the idea of restructuring the ad and bringing things back to life and pushing the auction back
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it. Thanks, Mark, for joining us here on today's episode of the Mentors.
See ya.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, guys. Chat soon.
Got something great from this episode? It would mean the world to us if you passed it on. Tune in each week as we mentor a new agent. Have a question? Want to be on the show? Get in touch with Claudio Encina, Matt Lahood, or visit our Facebook page. The Mentors is brought to you by Sprinkler.media.